I was born in Ukraine, in the city which now is called Donetsk, then it was Stalino, and I was born and raised in absolutely assimilated family of Soviet Jews, assimilated by force. We were growing without knowing anything about our history, about our religion, about our roots, about our holidays. The only thing which we knew that there is discrimination of Jews, and because it is written in the ID of your parents Jew, we are victims of this discrimination.
You were in prison for 9 years in prison and labor camps, mainly on a special disciplinary regime, including more than 400 days in punishment cells and more than 200 days on hunger strike. A really remarkable confrontation with a police state and in some ways with evil. We should tell our audience that you had been separated from your wife, who you met at meetings of at the synagogue or at Jewish meetings. Then she was able to immigrate to do Aliyah to Israel, but you were not. And so right after you were married, you were separated for quite a number of years.
And then suddenly you realize that, whether you want or not, but there is different history which begins not from Bolshevik revolution, but which begins thousands of years ago from exodus from Egypt. And to some extent maybe you are continuing this way. So suddenly you are finding the roots. And I think it was a very important first step for inner freedom, for getting some strength, some source of this strength. Then later, you start learning more about spiritual power of these roots. The moment I found my identity, the moment I found my roots, the moment I felt that in fact there is a long history which is behind me, it became the first source of the strength to speak openly your mind. And the moment, for the first time you start speaking your mind, you become free. And I remember the first psalm which I suddenly understood, the phrase which I understood was Gam kilech b'geit salmavet lo yirara ki ama ita imadi. And when I go through the valley of death, I fear no evil because you are with me. And it was suddenly such a powerful feeling, as if King David himself, together with my wife, together with my friends, came to prison to save me in this and to support me. And suddenly all this connection of the 1,000 years is restored.
On February 11th, 1986, after 9 years in the Soviet Gulag, prisoner of Zion Anatoly Sharansky came home to Israel, to the land he'd never seen. For Russia's most famous Jewish dissident, the exaltation of homecoming was shadowed by memories of those left behind.
In this happiest day of our life, I am not going to forget those who I left in the camps, in prisons, who are still in exile, or who still continue their struggle for the right to immigrate and for their human rights.
For Anatoly Sharansky, the years of Jewish pressure paid off. Thousands of Israelis, among them Prime Minister Peres, came to welcome him home.
Anatoly Sharansky has fought heroically, alone, under tremendous pressure, against so many difficult odds. as a proud Jew, as a freedom-lover person, as a man with a mission, as a devoted Zionist, and show that you can arrest a body, you cannot put in prison a spirit. Faith prevails.
At a Passover Seder behind locked doors, refuseniks like Alexander Lerner, Isaac and Alexander Finkelstein, Vladimir and Maria Slepak celebrate an earlier Exodus. And they celebrate also that great Jew who triumphantly forced his oppressors to let my people go.
We are going to continue our struggle to open the gates of Soviet Russia, which is not an enemy of ours. Our people are entitled to reach the shores of their homeland as free people, as Jewish people. And this is an uncompromising struggle that will be continued.
Soviet Jews will come to an Israel which is preparing itself for that day. They will come to a strong and vibrant nation. Through United Israel Appeal, Keren Hayesod campaigns, Jews worldwide are helping Israel to save and rebuild Jewish lives, to create in Israel a source of strength for all Jews everywhere. The Jews of Russia know, as Sharansky knew, that they do not fight alone.
I want to tell to all the Jews of the world that we together, Jews of all the world, are very strong. We are strong by our history, by our faith. We are strong by our Israel, because that's the country which unites all of us, independently from the fact where we live.
In the years I was in prison, there were very hard times. I spent long periods in solitary confinement. I went years without a single word from Israel. But even in the punishment cell, I used to sing, Hine ma tov u'ma na'im. Hine ma tov, how good it is and pleasant for brothers to dwell together.
זה הכוח של עם יהודי, כאשר אנחנו ביחד. כאשר עם יהודי זכר מאיפה הוא בא, יודע איפה השורשים שלו, מקושר לארץ ישראל, מחוזק על ידי ארץ ישראל, מאוחד, אין כוח שיעמוד מולנו. עם ישראל חי.